What's up? I'm Tim.
I'm Blake.
And I'm Colin, and this is Shift Happens.
Great execution.
Shut up. This is literally our first video. You can cut me some slack here.
Shut up.
So, what we are is we are that, and amongst other things, we are just going to be a channel about automotive, the automotive world, modifying our cars, doing what we want, and showing our passion through the one thing we truly love in this life. Hence why we are RTR, 1320, Volkswagen, and surrounded by other things that make us who we are.
I'm Blake. I am the resident Euro guy. What got me into cars was honestly just growing up. I was always big into cars. Like, by the time I could walk, I could tell you different trim levels of different cars as I was just driving around with my mom, running errands, doing whatever an infant does. And it just sort of blossomed into wasting all of my money all the time because I like European cars.
And that is just a common theme amongst all of us because we all built the hell out of our cars. And
For dumb reasons.
Some of us more money and dumb things, over the other, but
the convening theme amongst all of us is we're all broke.
It's about to change.
To an extent.
All right. Tim, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and why you got into the automotive world?
Kind of the same as as Blake said. I always grew up liking cars. I would be at my grandpa's at age 4, 5, 6, and I could basically tell you every trim, every car that went by. I was taught all that growing up, and it just blossomed from that. My dad had a really cool Buick Regal back in the day with a big old 454 big block in it, and I remember doing burnouts all the time as a kid. He used to scare the absolute shit out of me with that thing, and kind of just became, one of my bigger hobbies. So it's pretty much how I got into it. And then on top of watching other people, like 1320 Video, Cletus McFarland, Throttle, a lot of those channels are big influences for me. That's pretty much how I started, where we are today. So.
All right, Colin, get her done.
Yeah, fine, whatever. So, my name is Colin. I'm a machinist. I'm a blue-collar worker. Do my own thing. How I got into the automotive world was being screamed at to hold the flashlight in the right direction. Because
Got to say that too.
What a
knows what happens when your dad tells you to hold the flashlight at the right direction and you just have like a half inch of where he wants it. You are going to have the worst day of your life.
Shout out, Scott.
There's always been I've grown up knowing oh no, dad smells like this. Maybe I should really listen to him today.
That's rough.
That is, as unfortunate as that is.
It is 100% true.
Yeah. Why do you guys get the comfy chairs? This thing sucks.
We're broke. What do you want me to do? This is our first video.
I'm in a damn lawn chair, man.
Yeah, it's probably more comfortable. At least you can lean back. I can't lean back.
I am in a broken office
I'm on the
chair.
wall, man. I can't lean back at all.
Thanks for your intelligent inclusion in that conversation.
Anytime. That's what I'm here for.
Regardless, since single-digit age, I was helping my dad rebuild the motor in his 1977 El Camino. That car was what grounded me in the automotive world. And then, what's that one video game? Midnight
Club.
Midnight
Man,
Club
that was big.
is what...
Midnight Club 2 Dub Edition.
Yeah, that...
3 Dub Edition.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Well, I'm fired.
At least I think so. I don't know. I don't think there was a...
Sit back down.
already. I'll see you guys next time.
No, get back here.
All right, you convinced me. Only because my ginger ale is on the table over here.
But no, like the Need for Speed, Forza, Midnight Underground, all those games is what
Midnight Underground?
Or I screwed up.
I know where he's going with it. So
I know,
I'm
but
not
you gotta
gonna
point
correct
out
it.
his mistake so it stops happening.
It doesn't work that way.
Mr. Attention to Detail.
Whatever. Regardless, that's what solidified me in the automotive world. And frankly, I am extremely thankful for the heavy dose of tism that all those games supplied to our collective stupidity when it came to modifying cars. So,
Cars that go brr make my pee-pee happy.
I'm pretty sure we can get away with that on YouTube.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're gonna figure out the hard way.
It's fine. It's fine.
So, Blake, why don't we get into your big build, what you're currently doing right now?
Oh, God.
How many times have we replaced the transmission?
At least his runs.
It's the third one. We're on the third one. Yeah. You should probably stop blowing some shit up. Anyways, I currently drive a Mark 7 GTI that we've pretty much, motor and transmission wise, have torn down to nothing and built back up better. I say better, it's still
Heavy quotations.
It breaks more, but like farting egg. So yeah, so currently I'm sitting on a stock block, but I got forged internals, still running stock turbo until it blows up, then I'll go big turbo, but it hasn't blown up yet. So yet. I'm sitting at 135,000 miles on the stock turbo, and I'm pushing about 29 to 30 pounds of boost in ideal conditions.
On a stock KO4?
IS20.
IS20.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of boost for that.
Yeah, and it's been holding it for about 80,000 miles since I've tuned it with EQT. Those guys are incredible. So, anyways. You know, it's lowered on coils, it's on some Enki wheels. It's pretty much like the perfect daily driver is what I wanted to build it for. It's sitting right around 400 wheel. It's a 6-speed. It shits, it gets, but it can also get you 40 miles to the gallon on the thruway. And that's really what I was going for, being broke as shit.
But what's your average mile per gallon?
My average is about 25. But
I'm going for single digits. I'm happy with 8.
Well, yeah,
I was getting 15 in mine.
Yeah, but
oh my God!
15.
But ever since I became a real adult, I stopped doing the dumb stuff so much, and I just use the car for what I built it for. It gets me point A to point B, but when you want to get on it, you can. But tons of speeding tickets. I almost totaled the thing a couple years back, and luckily insurance didn't total it. They fixed all of it, and then I just started building more and more from there. So as it sits right now, it will prevent me from retiring anytime in my lifetime. But it's fun.
Now, where are you planning on going with this build? What is your end goal with that car?
I plan on keeping it forever, no matter what happens to it. But it honestly all depends on whatever financial situation I get into. I want to get another daily, leave it. I want to say leave it stock, but we all know that's not going to happen. But I want to get a 2500 AT4. And just have that be my daily. Probably lift it 3 inches, put it on some wheels, put it, exhaust, intake. Probably won't tune and delete it just because, New York State is not fun. And then really just do whatever with it. I want to, if I happen to pull a Tim, I want to put a 2.5 out of an RS3 and all-wheel drive swap it. But obviously that takes time, money, and overboosting the out of my engine.
Sounds familiar.
So that's where I'm at.
I'm gonna go next, frankly, because I want to get into what happened with him and his build. Because
I love it without context. I love it without context.
That's totally fine.
So
yeah,
we got a resident Euro car driver, overpriced, over-engineered German garbage. Getting to me now. I have always had a fascination with older Chevys, domestic brand vehicles. Granted, I do have love for a majority of vehicles out there. Not the AZ1. There is no love for that in any world. Neither a smart car. The
AZ1. I love the AZ.
You say a smart car though?
The AutoZam
Yes.
AZ1.
Bro, what a Hayabusa motor in that thing, dude.
I don't care. They're
Oh,
butt
that's
ugly.
cool.
They're
That's
butt
cool
ugly.
shit.
There's
dude.
a lifted one like 5 minutes from here.
Tom,
Thing's
you
cool as
Throw a
hell.
Busa motor
No,
in that
no,
thing.
they
You
are
need to
sick.
be
They are
open
not
your mind.
redeemable.
Nah,
They are
dude.
not redeemable.
You throw
They are
a
redeemable.
Busa motor in that thing. That thing is sick.
I have more love for a Tesla than I do a smart car. Granted,
Leave.
stock.
Get out of your own.
I'm saying-
Get out of your own.
Get out of here.
Get out. Go.
Stock.
Electric
smart car.
cars are communists, and they should all burn.
They're cool to an extent. They're
Joe
definitely
Rogan's
cool to
Joe
an extent.
Rogan's S Apex plaid that he just got. That
Don't
thing
care.
is cool as hell.
Don't care.
Regardless, stock smart cars
Dumb.
don't belong in the automotive world. Don't care. They don't deserve to exist. Regardless,
But wide-bodied Hayabusa swap smart cars are cool.
See, that's cool
Here,
shit. That's
context.
That's what I'm saying.
I said
That's what I'm saying.
stock.
Yeah. Well, who buys a stock smart car?
Yeah, what person in the car world is gonna
Sonic.
keep a
Sonic. How many times do I gotta say it? Sonic.
The Hedgehog.
I don't remember ever seeing a stock one at Sonic, but
You
if
don't
I
remember-
did, if it was there, then
You
then
don't
I'm
remember
wrong.
the red one with the yellow accents to mimic the little Tykes car that always showed up to Sonic?
I do remember.
Yeah, but that's
Exactly.
kind.
I do
That's
remember
kind
that
of
now.
cool.
But
the
see, that
way-
is kind of cool
it looks
because
like
it
the
looks
little-
like the kid's toy, man.
It's
Yeah.
crap. It's not even paint. Like you.
So
Hey, you know what? Maybe it was old dude could fucking afford at the time, man. That's cool though. You're making the best out of what you got.
He walked out of his car wearing 3 rows of Cuban chain.
They were probably fake.
I don't care if you're gonna walk around like you're saying that you have a ton of money and you're driving up in a stock smart car with yellow wrap on it, thinking you're cool just because it's a meme doesn't. No.
I think it's cool because it's a meme.
But yeah, regardless, off of that terrible side tangent, because things anger me very easily.
Hashtag triggered.
Fair enough.
So
So long story short, my dad and we were sitting at a bar and we were just chilling out.
shocker.
Yeah, shocker. I know. Whatever.
Shout out Scott.
If
Scooter.
this ever takes off, I'm probably gonna have to figure out a way to get all 4 of us in the same room and see what happens. But regardless,
Oh, can it wait till after he gets blasted? Because then he's really fun to talk to.
oh god, it's gonna get off the rails real quick.
Yeah, I love it.
Regardless, long story short,
Scott.
my dad and I were talking about our cars, figuring out what we wanted to do, and approached us from the corner of the bar. Mind you, literal sitting there, scratching, doing his thing, whatever.
Did he have more teeth than me?
No, he didn't.
Sweet, I'm up on one person.
And he casually introduces himself into the conversation by saying he has a vehicle that he wants to that he thinks is pretty cool, which granted in hindsight was pretty cool. And he just kept on talking about having this black single cab short bed truck. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you happen to know the year of it? And he's like, oh yeah, 1990. And he kept on saying it had like this weird decal on the tail end of the truck.
You mean that one?
That decal. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Screw it. I'll offer him $5,000. And he's like, sure, come pick it up. Cool. So we get to his house. I pull up in my 88 C3500. Beautiful truck. And we walk into this garage, and this truck is sitting underneath a tarp, covered in garbage, but she's gorgeous. She's mint. She's perfect. It still had the Louisiana registration in the window from 2003.
Can I add a tidbit here?
What?
So you pulled it out of a garage under a tarp when it was covered in garbage.
No, we cleaned it all off.
Yeah, but like to put it in your garage untarped, still covered in garbage.
Okay,
You're just trying to
You're
piss him off,
gotta
man.
get him riled.
You're screwing with
You
him.
gotta get him energetic. Gotta get the vibes.
listen, it is stuck in a garage, a car and a half garage with a fully with a full two-up
This is what we
ATV with a
needed.
plow. I don't. No. Shut it.
This is what we
Shut it.
It
needed.
is true though.
God.
Yes.
All right,
get angry.
Get to the point, man. Get to the point.
The truck was gorgeous. It was absolutely impeccable. The only thing that was wrong with it is the original 454 block was windowed. Shocker.
You know a lot about that.
At the end of the day, you would have gotten gapped by a family sedan. So keep talking.
I don't want to hear any. Whoa, hold on. Y'all are talking about getting gapping each other, whatever the hell you want to do. From a dig, hands down, without a doubt, we know my truck has it to the 8th.
That's all you got, though.
Yeah.
It looks good.
How about you
sounds
try
good,
and turn?
Does it?
Turn. Turn.
He gets past the 8th.
Turn.
He gets past the 8th. He's all out of air. He's all out of steam.
He's all out of gears.
He's all out of steam by the 8th. So you go.
Then it's overheating by then
You go
anyway.
giant
No,
turbo.
we fixed that problem.
No, hold on though. You go giant turbo. I go giant turbo. More than likely, we have him by the quarter.
Okay, I'll just put a 200 shot at nitrous in the damn thing.
Yeah, I'm making 30 pounds of boost in second gear. If I get traction, you have no chance. Because I weigh 3,000
You
pounds
can't fit
less.
a bigger tire under the car unless you start notching.
I can
things.
fit a slick under the car.
Neither of us are winning on an 8th though against him. It's just not feasibly possible.
I think it's possible.
Nah, dude.
I will
would.
take you to Gapplebee's
I
in
will-
three different speeds.
I will say that at an 8th, his truck's made for an 8th.
Though I've only been in the truck
110%.
one time when he's actually gotten on it.
Yeah, you damn well know. So
It's a giggler for sure.
regardless, bought the truck, and it was an absolute steal. Literally could not find a cleaner truck for the same price, at all, anywhere. So brought the truck home.
Except for the fact that it was blown up.
Yeah, except for
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you spent what? You said 5K
I spent $5K on the body.
on a good rolling body for a 454 SS. I mean,
It's not bad.
It's
Yeah.
it's not bad.
One
Yeah.
major dent in the bed. And that is it. There's
But
no rust.
no rust. I mean, the frame's
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean,
It
you
was a
really
southern-
can't
it was a
ask.
southern truck.
You can't ask for
Yeah.
a better roller. You can't.
And then you get the guy that takes over and everything's going to be perfect.
Well, what do you think? All right. So
That's what I'm saying.
I could say
So-
I could say something, but I'm just not going to.
Because then you're going to have to edit it out.
No, I'm not gonna have to edit it out, but I don't want to rip on them. So, especially with a blown car.
This is going to be like we all just rip on each other every week for the next
pretty
foreseeable
much.
future.
Pretty much. But what ended up happening is I found a big block 402, less common engine, but they're still great on power. It was a block out of a 72 Chevelle SS. Whatever. Got the truck running on that block, drove it around, and somehow I hit a pothole and managed to split the torque converter at the weld. Don't know how that happened. Don't want to ask any more questions. All I'm chalking it up to is cheap Chinesium.
Sounds
But-
about right.
You know, during the massive housing
Sounds
crisis.
about right.
Insert my motor mounts here.
Yeah. 21-year-old with a heavy background in financials. A heavy credit score, not financials. I got a couple credit cards with very large limits, and then proceeded to dump 20 grand into this truck.
Yeah.
Built the 402, forged crank, forged rods, forged pistons, ported polished heads, and port matched to a Holley single plane intake manifold, Holley sniper system with a Aeromotive A1000 fuel pump. Just I'm building the truck to for 1,000 horsepower. FTI,
Are you getting there naturally, or are you adding spray?
No, my truck is natural right now.
You're gonna get to 1,000 with all natural though, is what I'm saying.
On that block, absolutely not a chance.
Are you gonna have a hole in the headlights and you just see the turbo in the
Like what are your plans for that 1,000?
What are you doing? What do you want to do? Where do you want to get? How do you want to
Yeah.
get there? What do you want to do? How are we doing it? What are we doing?
So, I want to do something a little different. Considering the truck has already had some modifications done to it that are less likely to be, put back to stock. Considering it does have a 4-link suspension in the rear with an airbag assist to help me get off the line for a drag strip. I want to, long term, but I want to throw a 8.4 liter V10 in it with a Magnuson supercharger.
Well,
and I want to paint the truck plum crazy purple. Keep the red interior, keep everything else the way it is, but plum crazy purple with a Viper V10 underneath the hood.
Chevy purists are already
absolutely
writing death threats as we speak.
Absolutely. But
yeah, they're not happy.
They're not happy about
they're
that.
not happy.
I don't dislike the idea because it's different.
I don't either because
Nobody's done
it's
it.
different.
But
I like
Chevy purists are going to crucify you.
I've already gotten crucified over that truck because it doesn't have a 454 in it.
Could you imagine him throwing a 2J in that thing?
That's damn near Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift with an RB Mustang.
See, that's another thing that would be cool. I mean, it's different. You wouldn't see
Not
it,
doing
so it would be cool. I know you're not
yeah,
going to
but
do it. I'm just saying.
TJ Hunt already did the RB and the Mustang deal, so
And
so you're gonna have to do a 2J in your 454 SS.
who also did the 2JZ swap into the Ford Lightning like Fast and Furious? Somebody did it. Somebody 2J swapped an old Ford Lightning.
I don't know. 3 years ago, car YouTube was just 2J swapping the world, so
They're a little overrated.
they're expensive to maintain for sure.
I mean,
But
I think they're obviously one of the best motors ever built. But getting the parts, maintaining them, and everything else,
One of the best
so
inline
expensive.
sixes ever built.
See, now
No,
if we're
the
talking-
best inline
So
six
if we're
ever
talking,
built.
if I could have any inline six right now, I would take a Barra.
Like I said, one of the best.
I would
Well,
take a Barra.
that's because you're a Ford guy.
Different. Nobody really has one
In the States, anyways.
in the States anyway,
Adam LZ.
and it's the American. Well, not really.
How much
American,
money did
but-
he pay to have that engine imported here?
Oh, more than we got
Exactly.
collectively.
Exactly.
But still, it's been done. I like the Barras, but when it comes to just pure enthusiast sound, feel, quality, it's the 2J all day long. It might be a bit overused now.
I agree.
I feel like the wells
I would
kind
have
of
to
run
agree.
dry on content on a 2JZ.
I would have to
But
agree.
it doesn't discredit the fact that it's one. You guys might hate me for this, but it's arguably the best sounding motor ever built.
That and the RB are both hands down top three of best sounding motors I've ever heard.
And I think insert third guy here is the Lexus LFA's V10.
I was just gonna say that. Yep.
yeah, those do sound absolutely phenomenal.
I was just gonna say that.
and then anything after that is just any Italian V12 or V10. And there's really no contest there. Just pure sound wise.
British V16 though. Oh, airplane engines in cars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except the
what?
W16 out of the Bugattis sound horrible. They do not sound good at all.
I never liked any sound of any Bugatti ever.
That's what I do. All right.
They're fast, and the engine's one of a kind, and no other cars will ever have it. But
Yeah, but I feel that same way about Koenigsegg.
I mean,
And if I had the money, I would go Koenigsegg all day.
Oh,
over
yeah.
Bugatti.
I would go Pagani over both of those.
See,
Pagani's cool.
Mercedes V12. Put an exhaust on
I'm
those
going
things,
Koenigsegg.
it'll be
Going Koenigsegg.
Can't do it.
I'd go Pagani only because that's just my preference. It really is. It's when you get up to that level, who gives a shit anyway?
Yeah, that's true.
We're talking about cars none of us will ever be able to touch.
Exactly.
Hennessy Venom.
Those are still going for over
still
$1 million right now.
mad expensive.
Yeah, but if you buy a Lotus and you send it off to Hennessy, it's a hell of a lot cheaper because
I'd rather just drive a Lotus.
Yeah, no, not a day in
twin
hell.
turbo LS in a car that weighs what 2,800 pounds is the Lotus Elise.
Yeah, but it's not.
I don't think they put LSs in Lotuses.
No, Hennessy did the Hennessy Venom.
Oh, well, I'm talking just straight up Lotus itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
no,
the new
they're,
one,
what, twin turbo V6 or are they supercharged?
I think they're still
The new one,
supercharged.
the Amira that comes with the Toyota 3-liter V6 with a supercharger on it. That is probably the best entry-level supercar that you can get into today. For under 100 grand.
I wouldn't really consider that a supercar, though. I
No,
would say that's
I
a
would.
sports car.
But that'd be the same thing as like.
To me, that's like you saying a Nissan R35 is a supercar, when really it's not.
Nah, it's
a sports
it's
car.
a mid-level sports car, but that I'd say the Lotus Emira is more on the realm of like a base 911. Would you qualify a base 911 as a supercar or a super sport car?
Oh, that's hard.
Exactly. That's
hard,
how
though.
I feel about
That's
it.
hard, yeah.
Hands down, I personally believe if you want to go like entry level supercar, from what I've seen from the market value and from honestly like a budgetary perspective, McLaren MP412C. You can find them. You can find examples for under 60K. Parts are relatively cheap because that's the platform that McLaren based everything off of.
It's still going to be unreliable, and it's going to cost you more money in repairs than it
See,
will.
with that
to
money, I would
purchase
get
the
an
car.
older GTR and then dominate the streets.
That's not really a suit. Let's be completely
I don't,
honest.
but I'm saying for that money and for that car, I would do all that with a GTR. And the money I would save, say we're buying brand new,
Fair
I could
enough.
throw into a GTR, and GTRs are known to take the tracks.
And I would do the same thing, but with an Audi RS3, build
But-
it to 1,500 horsepower, and
If we're
Boom,
going,
done.
If we're going that level of what we were just talking about, you said entry level supercar. I was talking about an entry level supercar. Sure, any Yahoo out there can take a Mustang and put enough mods into it to outperform those cars on very easily, because I bought a $5,000 truck, put 20 grand into it, and now I make 700 horsepower, and I beat 90% of the people in this area.
yeah.
But again, like I have seen like some of the most absolute rotted out, scuffed pieces of crap hit the track and smoke like some of the most intense competition possible.
See, and that's what I like. I like shit like that.
Like
Out of the box ideas, shit boxes beating things that they shouldn't be beating.
yeah,
Insert farm truck here.
exactly.
Anything like that.
Like for instance, my buddy of mine races regularly, like actually like circle track and or road course, and every once in a while he'll show up to a meet or an event, and there's going to be a kid there with an '88 El Camino, a pure mullet machine.
All right, Cletus.
I love mullets.
It's not wrong. He built it to look like Cletus's car, the mullet. He built it to look like that. His hood scoop is literally a stop sign. I don't know how he got it, but it's a stop sign.
Respect.
And he puts up insane numbers all the time. Like he will beat out Miatas with all the ground effects. A turbo Miata. What was the track leader at that point? He had a turbo Miata with really nice suspension and ground effects, and he beat him out in a '88 El Camino that was LS swapped.
LS swap the world.
Yeah, no, we're not getting on that train. Absolutely not.
No,
Anyway,
never.
End of tangent, because now we have to get to Tim's car because this is a
He's
great
been
topic.
avoiding this.
Anyways, let's get into your car.
What's left of it?
So,
All right. So-
we have a genuine question here. How much boost can a Ford Fusion take before it goes boom?
So anyway, I have a 2013 Ford Fusion. It's got the 2-liter EcoBoost, same as the Focus ST, minus I believe only the turbo overboost function. I think that was the only difference between the two platforms. Long story short, full bolt-on, every mod you could think possible, big turbo, and I ran that for 3-4 years, making around 400 wheel. Had no issues. Threw a better high pressure fuel pump in there because I was running lean and running out of fuel, and I wanted to make more power. So with power, more boost. And in the midst of doing a couple data logs and getting that fuel pump where we wanted to get it, I did a run and I boost crept and made about 32, 33 PSI on a tune that probably wasn't 100%, and she decided to window the block in front and back.
He did it for ventilation purposes.
Weight reduction.
Which also in turn blew up my big turbo.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
Turbo
Ford.
is done.
I don't know how it was possible. I have never seen a turbo blow like this before, but his exhaust housing was cracked.
It's cracked to shit. That turbo is done.
His exhaust housing was cracked.
So when you ask the question, how much boost was it making? Do you just answer with,
I would say
Yes.
how much. I mean, after
how much boost?
after talking to my tuner,
Mhm.
who has tuned a lot of Focus STs and a lot of the EcoBoost platform, he said I was making, with that boost and the fuel, I was making probably 480, 500 wheel, right around there.
And then it went kaput.
And the rods don't like that. And I guess with this platform, 500 wheel is kind of the limit with the stock unopened block. So now the plan is to buy a motor and build a bottom end.
The thing that surprised me the most about when we were going tearing things down, like trying to get down to the long block, you didn't know you had the hole in the back of the block
I
towards
didn't.
the firewall.
I didn't. It was only when we started taking shit apart. You got the giant one, hole in the front, probably. I can't really.
It was
Probably
probably
like that big
2x6
in the front.
inches.
And then we're taking shit off the back of the block, and he happens to find another hole. So it went out the back and it went out the front, and it went boom.
He cut his block in half. He
It's
cut
bad.
it in half, and there was a portion of the piston and connecting rod sitting on top of the turbo on the back of his block.
And that's how it was for the front too, because when I first blew it up and I started digging around, and I took that intake manifold off, that's the first thing I found was that giant piece of rod that I showed you,
Yeah.
along with pieces of piston. So it went out both sides.
But there was like a 3-inch piece of piston just chilling, just sitting there on top of the exhaust housing for the piston, or for the exhaust housing for the turbo. Excuse my absolute stupidity.
They're in for a lot of that.
Yeah, absolutely. But there was another thing that absolutely amazed me. Is the bottom section of the connecting rod was still on the crankshaft.
It was shown there.
His crankshaft was still beautiful because we could see right onto the main, but his crankshaft didn't have grooves, didn't have anything wrong with it. The connecting rod is still, the bottom of the connecting rod is still sitting on the crank.
What an interesting way to not use a borescope. Just blow a hole in the side of the
Just
block
not
so
need
you can
to,
see
man.
right in. It's crazy. It's great work. It's great work, guys.
Yeah, so Tim figured out the hard way that 35 pounds of boost will take your forged internals and make them forged externals. He sent his rod to God.
Just saying, if I were there when it happened and I drove past you, I would have hit you. You can't park there.
What's fucked too is when it blew up, it didn't even sound like it blew up. There was no oil coming out the back. There was no oil smell. There was no kaboom. There was nothing. At first, it sounded like a serpentine belt had literally taken a shit and was flapping around inside the engine bay. But then you get the low oil warning, and it's game over.
Yeah.
Game over at that point.
It is still absolutely amazing.
But how much damage was done to that block? You would think you'd hear like a boom.
Especially with that much power, too.
Especially with all the chunks
especially with
slapping the firewall.
with a hole in the back of it too.
Yeah.
So I was
Excuse
shocked.
my
At
dogs.
first, I was praying to God. I'm like, oh, just be the turbo, or be a blown line, because obviously oil is going everywhere. Start feeling around, find a piece of the piston. Didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
Womp womp.
All right, so the plan for the car is basically to build the bottom end, forge pistons, rods. Crank is good. Should be good.
Hopefully.
I'm not using that same crank in the blunt motor.
Probably could
probably
if
gonna
it's
do
in
some-
that good a shape.
Probably our head studs. I might do cams, and I may even go bigger turbo and really find out what it can handle. But that's pretty much where I am with my build. So.
What do you expect it to hit, anyways, if you go with that much power? Or with that many mods into that type of motor? Like, I'm genuinely curious.
I'm more worried about the trans at that point. If I build the motor and do all that shit, I'm worried about the trans. Trans ain't holding.
Well, what trans could you even go to?
Can't.
A manual.
I can't go to.
They don't make.
There's been a lot of talk about like trying to figure out a way to
Like
get
an
a 6-speed
adaptation
from
plate?
like a Focus ST or even
The Honda
the
Odyssey?
manual that came with the Fusion for, I think it was 2013. The 1.6 got a manual.
The previous generation or the same body style?
Same body style, but the 1.6 did get a manual.
Oh, that's cool. But how different are the bell housings?
And then linking up to the motor and everything.
Yeah. Well,
so, to my knowing, nobody's done it, so it's probably a bitch and costs too much money.
well, what you could do is, I mean, there's probably a company out there that makes an adaptation plate.
Could always just find somebody to make one too.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like that.
It's true.
He would be.
I mean, that's a lot of R&D and time and money. I mean,
Yeah, but he's enough to do it.
Honestly, not really. Like, it took me...
yeah, but I'm not trying to make that shit out of cheap material though.
Well,
And that's not cheap material.
Yeah, this is 6061 aluminum.
Exactly.
And, like, that took me 5 hours. Only because I was getting used to the program. And, like, I was setting this up from scratch. I didn't even know what machine I was going to be able to do that. So, yeah, again, it was just more or less a test piece. And mainly because I wanted to, like, make something for the channel. Just, like, pop our cherry, per se, with doing something like that.
You could turn this into a belt buckle if you just scaled it down a little bit.
I could.
Anyway.
Intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know. At the same time, I might. I don't know. I might go semi back to stock and get something else, and make that my daily. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do yet.
EcoBoost Mustang.
I'm not buying a EcoBoost Mustang. What am I?
And there we go. Finally found his limit.
EcoBoost.
The hell would I buy a 2.3 Mustang, bro? That is, dude. It might be better than the V6 that they used to put in them, but no, absolutely not. I'm not buying no EcoBoost Mustang. That is so lame. That is so lame, dude.
Yeah.
If I'm buying a Mustang, I'm getting 5.
So there's a person in my neighborhood who.
Oh no, we are not talking about that. We are not broaching that topic because.
Have you seen it driving around?
Yes, I have.
The Mistachrome 4-cylinder Mustang. But and it's not even a manual; it's an automatic.
We are not talking.
It's wrapped in
Mistachrome.
Mistachrome.
Yeah, we are not talking about that topic because whatever I have to say in regards to that, what some people would consider a human being, we're gonna slowly taper off the end of this episode. So, for the future of this channel, the more we grow, hopefully, because I don't want to put too much emphasis on that. Personally, I am a massive historical buff, and when it comes to the automotive history, there are so many instances where things have happened, things were done, and people did things that just blew my mind. There's a couple stories I can think of right now, off the top of my head, and frankly, I would personally love to get into those aspects because I would love to introduce people into those topics in depth because they're just downright interesting, and I love them. Whereas Blake, you want to introduce, you want to go into car meets and you want to talk to people and show off cars or show off builds.
Yeah, meet owners, learn their stories, what drove them to build their stuff, because it's pretty much what we're doing here, just on a bigger scale.
Yep. So meet people, figure out why they did what they did.
Exactly.
Just meet some cool people, and then on top of that, potential builds, some potential building of said motor for me, because mine's
And future projects that all of us are undoubtedly going to have.
Exactly.
So.
And I mean, personally, again, just get into a little bit of everything involving the automotive world. Like, you even brought up ideas of like buying like little cheap.
Just buying stuff to do some stupid shit with, basically.
Yeah, so like what your Coleman bike does, buy that and try and throw a turbo kit on it and see how much boost we can make before we window that block.
Well, I'll probably window the stock one that we can just put a Predator 212 from Harbor Freight in.
You might actually window that faster than I windowed mine.
And then, because I have a spare IS-20 sitting in my garage ready to go.
Oh God, an IS-20. What? Those aren't even a. They're not even a liter.
No.
They're not even what? They're not even a quarter liter.
It's 200.
Not even a quarter liter, and we throw that big ass turbo on there. It's either not going to make any boost at all.
It's not going to spoil
But it doesn't have a wastegate on it currently.
But if we don't throw a wastegate on it, that thing might see a shit ton of power.
Might, yeah.
Just keep it.
So we have a lot of.
Keep it throttle open for 30 minutes. You'll hit 130, pass away, and then
throttle it out, baby.
Throttle it out.
So anyway, we have a lot of ideas. It's not just going to be one thing or the other. We might do podcasts like this and just talk. We might go over cool, exciting topics like he brought up. Might be car meets, car shows. Might be bringing on people who have done some cool shit with their vehicles and talking to them, getting their rundown of what they did to their vehicle, ride along maybe.
Yeah, thanks for that.
And possible builds and possible stupid shit. So
interviews are definitely something that I would very much like to do. Like actually have somebody sit down and shoot the shit with us and talk about their build and talk everything. Like granted, we can go to car meets and like discuss build with owners.
That's the door opener for that.
But yeah, actually sitting down with them and discussing what got them to that point would be fantastic. But yeah, this is our first video to the channel, and I hope it's received well, because I would honestly love to sit down and do this, because any excuse to sit down and drink and hang out with my buddies is a great time.
Drink ginger ale, you mean?
That's some good ginger ale.
That's a great ginger ale.
I just said drink. You don't have to. Why are you making yourself look guilty? You don't gotta make yourself look guilty.
Because we're gonna monetize the shit out of this.
I don't want to sell my soul.
With that being said, if you have any ideas on things we could go over, things you think you would like to hear us talk about, any kind of cool ideas, leave them down in the comments, and we'll be sure to look into them and go from there.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with that. And if we get comments on it, I would very much like to read them.
Oh yeah.
and I would very much like to get like a topic that I haven't done a lot of research in, because frankly, that's just the way my tism runs.
Yeah, and we
I would
can
agree.
always.
I would agree.
Honestly, we should do a thing where.
Wait, we do a poll system on what people want to hear.
Well, like,
Could do shit like that. We'll
Or-
too.
we could just show up one week, and one of us, any one of us, just has a random topic that we want to talk about, and we talk about that, and that way everybody else gets their, unmodified reaction and input to said topic.
That is exactly what I was getting at when I called both of you and discussed that.
Oh, I already got my first one.
Oh, I know my first one. It involves a 1959
All right,
Chevy
let's
Impala.
up and end this video.
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
Knock, knock, who's there? Not us. Have a great day.